Hi, my name is Ryan.DeAngelis from the Guaranty RV Supercenter in Junction City, Oregon. Today I'm going to show you the 2021 Heartland Sundance 189MB. This is my favorite trailer that's under 20 feet. It's an 18-footer, which even with the spare tire and the bumper sticking out and the hitch in the front, you're still 22 feet 0 inches total. That's pretty short for a trailer that's going to have all the stuff this has. You're a little over 4,000 pounds on one of these. And it's the biggest little trailer in the world if you've ever talked to me about these before. And I'll show you why. On the outside, you have a huge pass-through. They didn't used to have this big of a pass-through, but they kind of redesigned it a couple years ago and redesigned the way the bed flips up inside, the Murphy bed, and made it a lot easier to flip inside, but also they used to just leave like a little sliver of storage in there. You might have seen those on some of these other small ones. This has a huge U-shaped pass-through up front. You have power stabilizer jacks on them now that in years past, if you've looked at one of these, we never ordered them with those, but we have them all with stabilizer jacks standard now. You have the tandem axle. Most of these trailers, if you're looking at any 18-footer, they're almost all single axle. And if you'd like a little more stability, or you like to have more than two wheels on the ground in case you got a flat, this has got the tandem axle. Another thing they added this year in 2021 is something called ASDEL into the walls. You may know what this is if you've ever studied on the Lance. You got some of your Coachman products use it as well. It's a man-made material that can't be damaged by water. So most trailers in RVs in general, all your Keystone stuff and most of your other big names, besides Jayco, Coachman, and Northwood, Arctic Fox, Nash, Lance, a lot of stuff we carry here. Underneath the flooring is OSB. They use kind of particle board in the flooring. These use tongue and groove plywood. So wood's going to hold up a lot better in case you got a little water on it than OSB is shot if it gets wet one time. So that's where you get a lot of problems with soft floor on the cheaper stuff. And that's how 80% of these trailers are made nationwide, because a lot of the country doesn't see a lot of rain like we might here in Oregon. So plywood is a better material, and you'll see that consistent on most of the stuff I carry here at Guaranty for new. So another thing that they do when they put particle board in the floors, they also put it in the walls. So you got aluminum frame, which is great on a lot of this stuff, but if they're smooth-sided, they're usually putting a layer of particle board in between the aluminum and that fiberglass on the outside. That's where you get the bubbles. If you've been looking at used trailers or ever had an older trailer that was smooth-sided, you start getting those bubbles on the outside. Water or moisture gets in, it touches that particle board, and it separates, and that's where you get delamination. And those bubbles don't go away. Plywood is a much better option, and some of the better stuff in this industry will use that in the walls, but this is using something called ASDEL, which if you look in the door jamb here, you can see it. It's a man-made material. It's half the weight. It's twice as strong. It's a better insulator. It insulates 3 times better. It can't mold and all this other good stuff, but the main thing is it shaves a lot of weight off of one of these things over using plywood or fake wood, some particle board. And it also can't be damaged by water, so it's impossible to get delamination bubbles on the sidewalls of one of these, or like the Apex and Lance, Freedom Express, other stuff that uses ASDEL. It's a pretty big deal in this industry. It costs more money to use, so not everybody's going to use the cheap stuff, right? So it's a pretty big step for Sundance to make, and all my 2021 Sundances, they all have ASDEL in the walls, which they didn't in years past, which is pretty cool. Around the other side here, I'll show you the slide outs on these. That's another difference from the Sundance and a lot of other brands. You have a rack and pinion slide system. It's beefy under there. It can handle a lot of weight, and it's also the most reliable. Guess what? It not being the cheapest one, like a cable slide, or the lightest one, most companies are going to use the cheaper, lighter stuff. This is a better slide. It's not the cheapest or the lightest, but it's the most reliable and can handle the most amount of weight. When you're looking at all your high-end stuff and they got the big slides all over the place, the better built stuff is all going to have rack and pinion like this. And it's pretty cool to find it in such a small trailer that's under 30 grand, that's under 5,000 pounds and all this good stuff. Follow me inside. I'm going to show you some stuff in here. So when I'm saying that this is the biggest little trailer in the world, what I'm talking about is just how open it is inside here. You got an 8-foot wide trailer, so it's a little bit wider than your other smaller trailers too, but you got this deep 3-foot slide. So some of these got a little slide out that pops out 18 inches or so. This is a full 3-foot deep slide. So you've got a lot of room from one side to the other. Now if you look in the kitchen area, it's going to have some things that a lot of these are missing usually. You're going to have your big stainless steel sink, one full sink instead of a little dinky sink. You got a bunch of drawers that you don't always find in the smaller trailers, but you'll look and they didn't steal our oven. We have an oven, we have 3 burners. A lot of times they get rid of the oven to give us 2 burners and all the small stuff. The fridge they upgraded last year to an 8 cubic foot fridge, so that's a huge fridge for a small trailer. You have a very arched ceiling in here, which kind of makes it feel bigger in here overall than it really is, and it's also for taller people, so they're not scraping their head on the AC and all the lights and stuff like they are in a lot of these trailers. So what makes this thing so big is you have a way to have multiple places to sit, where it's not just sitting on the bed and sitting on the dinette. You have a couch as well. And to fit that all in an 18-foot trailer is pretty challenging. But they pulled it off. And what you have here is you got a couch that you can sit on, and then you can fold it down, and you got a RV queen bed down below it. Let me show you. Then you also have a second bed in this one over at the dinette that makes down to a bed too. You got a 32-inch TV that pulls out and swivels. You got all your DVD, AM, FM, CD, all that stuff. In the bathroom, what's nice too for a small trailer is it's got a normal functioning bathroom, not the sit on the toilet and shower at the same time deal. So you got a nice big shower in here that they made bigger over the last couple years as well. You got a ton of storage in here as well. Sink, you know, enough room to sit out there, sit on the toilet and not hit your knees on the door. It's kind of a lot of the things that people get worked up about when they're in some of the smaller trailers. You know, they're not finding quite what they're looking for unless they go bigger, and that's not what they're really looking for or are able to tow. There's a bunch of other stuff I want to show you on this unit, so give me a call when you can. My number is 541-525-4001, and my name is Ryan.DeAngelis from the Guaranty RV Supercenter in Junction City, Oregon. Talk to you later.